white flag is out. Duran was right there on the back.
All over him in turn 1.
I think that was the opportunity to try to do the bump and run. Duran
He's got 2 more chances.
He definitely tried it. Brochu did a great job keeping it under him there.
He's got a good run off turn 4. Can he make this? No, he's going to stay in line here going to the bus stop. Yeah.
To the bus stop. Oh, but a really good line to the bus stop for Duran. He's right on him.
Yeah, he went through there much better than Brochu, and he's going to give him a shove through the carousel.
Looks like he got a little unlucky. Looked like there was some net code. He went through his bumper instead of into it.
Here we go, off the carousel. 2 more corners. Duran checking the outside, checking the inside. Brochu, rear driving. 1 more chance here for Duran. What's he gonna do? He's gonna poke to the inside. They're gonna be side by side down the front stretch. It's a drag race to the line. Who's gonna get it? It's gonna be Duran. Brochu spun.
Gliding through the carousel, though, that's what's going to cost him some more time. Here comes Kruger now in the picture within 2 seconds. Oh, it just readjusted. It should have been 4 to go. Now it's a 3 to go. Or it wasn't 3 to go. Now it's back to 4 to go. He's pitting. Braden Holt's pulling it to pit road. He's not going to make it far enough. He's going to have to take a splash of fuel, and that is going to do it. Kruger will take the stripe that time by what should be now 3 laps to go. He can just walk to victory now. Coming through turn number 7. Back-to-back years, he is going to wind up in victory lane here at Watkins Glen. It's going to be Michael Kruger from the pole, winning the Finger Lakes Grand Prix.
Oscar Enriquez moves to the high line. He's going to tuck back in, and Hunter Peach going to go around hard, hit into the wall. We stay green.
No caution. Looks like admins want to race this out.
Peach has towed back to pit road. Track is clear. White flag is waving 1 more time around for Pacey Weich and Oscar Enriquez in the middle line. Nick Hapiak pushing Enriquez.
Lap car Mike Campbell gonna hold up anybody from getting to that 3rd lane.
It's clear now. Kreider moves down into the middle. Oscar Enriquez getting a push from Kreider. Oh, Enriquez a little bit squirrely there. He's going to be all right. Kreider moving to the outside. Andrew Chapman coming. They're wrecking in the back. Hard hit for a couple of these drivers. Enriquez moves in front of Chapman. It's going to be a drag race to the line. They're 3 wide, making that almost 4 wide. Chapman, Weich. It's going to be Andrew Chapman with the win here at Talladega. By 2 1,000ths of a second. Wow.
What you just said, Josh, is not what I show. iRacing has it officially 1,000th of a second.
It's going to be the white flag this time by 1 more lap for Johnathan Parker. Can he hang on, or can Sartaj Man get up there and battle for this championship? Man trying the top lane, see if he can generate enough momentum. He's got a good run down the back straightaway for the final time. Sartaj Man sends it in through 3, but it's not gonna be enough. Coming out of turn number 4, Johnathan Parker scores the victory, and then more importantly, he scores the Season 10 championship here in the Slide Job Racing League.
Welcome to episode 17 of Fastlane JCTV podcast. On this episode, we're going to hear from a few different drivers from our leagues here on JCTV. Johnathan Canfield is going to stop with us and talk about some really heavy personal matters that he got to tribute last week in the Slide Job Racing League. Ethan Fonseca Moreno stopped in to talk about his win and all the other leagues he races in, and Luke Mahone also stopped on Fastlane to talk about the Coast to Coast Cup Series, which is wrapping up its first season this week on JCTV. We're gonna talk about the Slide Job Racing League first, though, which wrapped up their 10th season at the Auto Club Speedway this week. It was won by Johnathan Parker, who took away the championship, Josh.
Yeah, I'll tell you, and what a great race that was. We saw a lot of good racing, and Johnathan Parker, Dylan Parker, Sartaj Van, those three absolutely putting on a show there during the race. Ethan Fonseca Moreno, Brian Dees, all those drivers finishing in the top 5. They all did an incredible job putting on a great show, and the battle between Johnathan Parker and Sartaj Man, especially for the championship, just really was incredible to watch.
And Brett Bennett, you were out on the racetrack competing while Josh and I were up in the booth watching the season wrap up. What were your biggest takeaways from all the action and all the drama that was going on late in the season?
It was a fun race. Real fun race with tire management. I know I did some alternate strategy, got me out front a couple times, but honestly, put myself in a decent spot late and then immediately ran out of town and wrecked because that's about par for the course for me. But it was fun racing. Got to do it with a few people at times. Got somebody tried to dump me into one of the final 4. But yeah, it was really good racing though. It was real fun. You had different lines and you had comers and goers. I felt like I had good long run pace. I just did not have the short run pace all race long. I was actually like that first run when we actually got to green flag stops. I was actually starting to gap people and reel in like the front of the field when we pitted. So thought maybe if the race went green all the way, I was actually in decent shape because I think I was going to make it on one less pit stop than a lot of people. So would have been interesting to see how it played out, but end of the day, it ended up happening that way. Ended up turning into a race where you get like 10, 15 laps and you get another caution, and kind of that was how it played out the rest of the race. So it was a fun race, and was glad to see John Park came away with it. I know we got a late race caution when he pretty much had the championship locked up, but glad he was able to still hold on the ensuing restarts and take away the championship.
Yeah, you mentioned those late race cautions coming out that almost prevented Johnathan Parker from taking away that championship on Tuesday night. I want to get both of your opinions on this. I'll start with Josh. As both a driver and a commentator, what's your opinion when you see an incident like that, bringing out a caution late in the season, knowing almost everything's on the line like that?
Oh man, I mean, as a racer, first of all, I hate to see any caution come out when you're out leading a race late. All you want is it just to go green, and then looking back at it, it definitely looked very interesting for a caution as well. I think I saw a lot of similarities. We're talking about Michael Waltrip Racing, um, causing a caution to help a teammate out, and of course, I'm not an admin, I'm not an official, but of the series, but it's just it is unfortunate when you have issues like that, situations. But as far as Jonathan Parker goes, he did an incredible job at um, still being able to stay cool and calm under the circumstances, knowing that there was another restart, and did an incredible job at still holding on and ultimately going on and win the race and the championship.
Yeah, and to add to that, I will say I don't think Sartaj had anything to do with that last caution coming out based on what he was saying post race. I think that was all Frimpong on his own. Also, that was also iRacing being dumb because Thorpe spun all the way to the grass and did everything he could to get it rolling without bringing out a caution. It threw a caution once he was back rolling, and some of it was he had to go up on the track surface because of the way Auto Club works, where the pit exit cone is. You get a penalty if you don't go up on the track surface because it cuts across the apron, and the pit exit cone is up against the apron. So I think that was kind of sucked. But at the end of the day, it was good job by Parker. I actually was kind of happy that I got the caution because I had saved a set of tires and had a set of tires on all but like 2 other cars. And then I immediately lit up my fresh tires and spun out on the restart and brought out another caution because I am bad at iRacing. But at the end of the day, it was glad to see Parker hold on to it.
So as we look at the final standings unofficially, this is what Sim Racer Hub had the day after the race was completed, so not considering any post-race penalties that may be applied to the season. I don't think there will be, looking at what I read through the Discord this week, but this is what it stands right now. Out of the final 4, Johnathan Parker, of course, your champion, Sautage Man, ended up 4 positions behind with 4 points back, 3 positions back, and finishing second in the final standings. Dalton Kiro ended up 3rd, and Luke Nupp did not compete at Auto Club Speedway. He ends up 4th. Mark Frimpong, despite that contact late, edged out Ethan Fonseca Moreno for 5th, and the Best of the Rest award went to Christian Pacheco in 11th, guys.
I'll tell you what, I like an idea to have a best of the rest, if you will, kind of award. For the drivers that didn't make the playoffs, because it's an incentive to get these guys to still race, because at that point, you're not in the running for a championship, and unfortunately, a lot of drivers just decide that they're not going to race anymore because they can't go for a championship. So it allows for you to still fight for something. So Christian Pacheco getting that best of the rest, finishing 11th points. He had still a pretty good season overall. 5 top 10s in 15 starts. So congratulations to Christian Pacheco on at least having a little bit of bragging rights.
I want to win a point. I want to win the points championship, but I'm just racing just to race. Like, I'll show up if somebody gives me the opportunity to race. I'll race. Like, it doesn't take a lot for me to show up. And I'd like to think most people are that way. Although I know some people, once they're out of the championship hunt, just won't show up. Which I think that in a lot of ways loses the enjoyment of it. Because if you're just in it to win every race or to go out and win, like, obviously you want to win, you want to finish as best you can, but at the same time, there's races where it can be a good accomplishment just finishing top 10 or finishing top 5, making moves on people. Like, every race helps A, improve yourself as a driver, and B, improve your ability and improve your outlook for races going forward. So that's what I'm at on that. Also, side note on that, Frimpong ends up finishing 5th in the points, but he will have a 91-point penalty next season at the start of the season for manipulating the outcome of the final race, which they are switching to a new point format, which I do not have on me on the top of my head, so I don't know how punitive that penalty is, but I'm guessing it's pretty punitive. So we'll see how that plays out as well next season.
Yeah, and Brett, to go on to that, he has been placed on probation for the first 2 races of season 11 because he was found at fault for manipulating the outcome of the race at Auto Club. Something else that I can think of, Sartaj, man, he started off the season in such a big hole because of the clash just before the season, and then just there were some more issues throughout the rest of the season that really put Sartaj Man in a hole. So, for Mark Frimpong, he is going to be in a deficit, but I wouldn't be too worried if I'm Frimpong right away, because he still has quite a bit of a season to try to get himself out of that hole and try to make the playoffs. So he's got plenty of notice, and can start focusing on the next season, and I think honestly, if I were Frimpong, just taking it one race at a time.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting to see how that all shakes up when Slide Job returns back to action later this summer. We're going to switch gears to the other series that is concluding right here on JCTV this Thursday night at 8:15 p.m. from Homestead Miami Speedway. It's going to be the Coast to Coast Cup Series after Austin Dorn ended up winning at Watkins Glen International on on last Thursday night. It was a last lap pass on Sam Virtue, Josh. It was pretty fun to see. You and I and Brett were both in the booth for that race, and pretty dramatic finish there after pretty comfortable race for all the drivers.
I'll tell you what, that race was so exciting. A lot of times in official races at road courses, pretty much guy that wins the pole pretty much just runs away with the race, and it gets kind of boring to watch. League racing, on the other hand, I've seen time and time again where it's just so competitive throughout the field, and you can have really exciting racing. Austin Durant, he only led one lap, which was the important one. And like you said, just such a close finish. Those two, I mean, I don't think you could have I don't think you could have scripted that finish even better or any better. It was exciting. It was dramatic. And those two, you feel so gutted for Brochu, but, you know, he did everything he could to hold off Durant to get the win. They were side by side, and then Brochu, he got sideways quite a bit, but still, um, just incredible job and great overall battle.
Yeah, it was a really entertaining race. I'm gonna have to disagree with you. League races at road courses 90% of the time are still boring. But like I think I've said it many times, but I wish we would limit the number of road courses most of the leagues go to, because a lot of the leagues, like Coast to Coast, has actually put on 2 really good road course races, which is impressive because a lot of the leagues really struggle with that. Like I know ITPN, I really feel like we haven't had the most entertaining road course race I still feel like was the Roval, and I think season 2, and that was only because me and Justin Durand spent about the last 30 laps just running into each other for like 6th. And then I accidentally ran over Chicano too, so it was just drama. But I don't think that was that great of a race, to be honest. But yeah, this race was great. Like Durand showed outstanding patience the entire final run. I think he was definitely faster than Brochu most of that run, but instead of making the move and leaving himself susceptible to maybe getting bumped or burning his tires, he just rode behind him the entire run. Tried to force Durant into a mistake, and then finally in the last 2 corners put the bumper to him and got by it, and ended up get side by side and get the better launch off turn 7 to beat him to the line and win the race. I thought that was a great race there, and then other big storyline out of the race was the points leader entering Brian Lorenzo ran into trouble with his internet in that race and blinked out repeatedly, had to disconnect a couple times to get his internet back working correctly. Ended up finishing, I forget exactly where, but back in the pack like 3 or 4 laps down. And because of that, Cody Riveras was able to pass him for the points lead heading into this week's finale at Homestead. And because Riveras ran a really solid race, started on the pole, led a couple laps early, and then kind of just settled in and ran third the rest of the race. But solid finish, gave him the points lead, which will be really interesting to see what happens going forward.
Yeah, but you mentioned Lorenzo's finish. Did not obviously have the race he was looking forward to, having that point lead entering Watkins Glen. Finished 15th when it was all said and done. You mentioned Rivera's had that really nice, comfortable race inside the top 5 for most of the day from the pole, leading 8 laps, finishing 3rd, right ahead of Gino Mahone, who finished 4th. Alice Wells finished in 5th, and Jason Rashcock finished 6th. And I want to give a shout out to Alexander Schumacher, who finished in 7th. He ran a very great race, I thought, because we haven't seen a lot out of that 68 this season, and he was always in a battle throughout that race with someone. I thought, from what I was watching, I always saw the 68 battling with someone, and he was making a lot of forward progress, and ended up in the 7th position from his 10th place starting spot, and racing with Nicholas Borowski there in late laps. On Friday night, we returned to Talladega Super Speedway for the DN9 Designs NAOR Series. They took to the high banks, ended in a photo finish. Josh, you were there in the broadcast booth. What did you have to think about the finish we saw between Andrew Chapman and Pacey Wygant?
Well, I'm going to sound like a broken record here because I'm going to pretty much say the same thing I just said for Coast to Coast at Watkins Glen. But the winner only led 1 lap, and it was a photo finish. I mean, Pacey Wygant, he had the lead, and Andrew Chapman just snuck by right at the end. But what an incredible race these guys had at Talladega. 3 cautions the whole race. These NAOR guys, they are a whole different breed. Always putting on great shows, and these guys, they know each other so well. They've been racing against each other for years, and you really can see the respect and trust that they have in one another. So, this race, I mean, it had it all. It was exciting. It was calm at times, but just the entire battle we saw. There was lots of it wasn't just kind of like a calm race either. You'd think Talladega 3 cautions, but there were drivers pushing, trying to get up to the front. There were lots of 3 wide drivers trying to move in and out of lines and find what was the fastest line to get into. And the last lap, I honestly thought Oscar Enriquez was going to have a great shot at getting the win. Oscar ended up finishing 9th, but he was right there in what I think would be considered the catbird seat. He was in a great position and ultimately involved in a wreck. I mean, the top 2, they were the only 2 that were able to keep going. Or everybody else was having to slow down to avoid a wreck or getting involved in a wreck. So, but I think the other thing from this race really could talk about is we had our 3rd winner of the season, and this was a race where you figured that it would produce a new winner or a different winner because Pacey Wygant, of course, winning 1 race, which was Iowa, and then Johnathan Parker winning all the rest of them that there have been to win this season. I know a lot of drivers really looked at this one as an opportunity to get a win, put themselves in the win column. And Andrew Chapman, who hadn't won in a long time, was able to get himself another win.
Yeah, you mentioned Johnathan Parker, a dominant driver of this season, was involved in an early incident at Talladega, finished outside the top 10 with the damage. Jamil Hawkins was right behind those top 2. He finished in 3rd. Justin Quimby was 4th. Enrique Quinones was 5th. And Jimmy Monch was in the 6th position at the checkered flag.
So something else that is pretty interesting, as I just mentioned, Johnathan Parker pretty much has stunk up the show, winning all but 2 races this season. The thing about it is the 2 races he didn't win, he DNF'd out of them. Had bad finishes. So Pacey Wygant, who has been really consistent, of course, like I had mentioned, won Iowa. Wygant actually has the points lead now, and I think that's kind of insane to think about. With a guy like Johnathan Parker just dominating the season so far. But Pacey, he's been right there. He's been in contention every race, and right now has that points lead. So we'll see where he can go from here, Pacey. But the other thing to mention, I think, this is obviously way later in the season, is the tournament style playoffs that they're doing.
And then on Saturday, we were back at Watkins Glen International for the In the Pits News Truck Series Finger Lakes Grand Prix at the Glen. It was Michael Kruger who dominated the race from the pole position, was able to get the stage, get the victory in a caution-free race over Cameron Caldwell, who finished in second, and Brayton Holt finished in third, using a one-stop strategy, and looked like he was almost going to come away with the victory there in late laps, but ran out of gas.
Yeah, so I quickly mention is just a couple moments ago when we were talking about the coast to coast Watkins Glen race. Brett said he disagrees with me because road courses still, even league racing, still it's kind of boring. Well, the issue is this one had a Michael Kruger in it who just waxed the field, led 39 laps, but you don't have Michael Kruger in it, and it should be an exciting race for the lead. But no, I mean, congrats to Michael Kruger. Of course, obviously my teammate with in PBR. Always happy and excited to see him win. But I think 5 drivers finished on the lead lap. Top 5: Michael Kruger, Cameron Caldwell, one that you always have to watch out for on the road courses. Brayton Holt, like you said, just come up short. I mean, he still finished third. What an incredible run out of Holt. I think he surprised a lot of drivers in that race, and he almost had the winning strategy call. Alonso Chicano finishing 4th, and Alex Kerfan finishing in 5th. This was, I still think, a pretty entertaining race overall. Because there was lots of racing going on throughout the field, and then the drama towards the end of the race. Can Brayton Holt make it? Is Michael Kruger going to catch him? If Holt does make it, I mean, there was lots of drama, and so I don't think you really could just hand the win to Michael Kruger early. I think Kruger, he still needed to do everything he could to claim the win, because even if Brayton Holt had made it on fuel, Kruger still was faster, still was catching Holt, but
Yeah, I think Kruger would have got him anyway.
it was going to be close. I do believe Kruger would have gotten him as well. So at this point, I was out of the race. I was watching. I was coaching Michael. I was telling him lap times, telling him where he was in comparison to Brayton Holt. And by the time Holt actually pit, I think there was going to be, 3 laps left, coming to 2 or something like that.
It was 3 to go. Yeah.
Kruger was very close. If Brayton Holt had saved enough and then had a little bit left in reserve, he could have, done what he could to battle Michael Kruger. There are lots of unknowns, a lot more questions than answers there. But I still think that the drama in that race, the intensity, I wouldn't say that Michael Kruger kind of just walked away with it overall.
Well, I would say he did walk away with it in that the only drama was created by somebody making a good strategy call compared to him. Like, no one was touching him on pace in that race. And also, that race was a really easy race to strategize for. I just didn't think you could make it on one stop because I thought it was going to go a little longer than 60 laps. I thought it was going to be closer to 62, 63 laps. So that's kind of where I messed it up a little bit. But we were discussing this in our team chat post race and just our feelings. By the way, shout out to Andrew Willias. He had a really strong run, finished 6th. Was really consistent all race. By far, probably the fastest of our trucks. Me, Brian, and Roy were all kind of similar. I think Brian was maybe a little faster, but he had some issues, and then I was a little faster than Roy, but Roy had really good long run pace. But that said, I felt like it just was kind of, there's got to be some way of having cautions at these races just for the strategy purpose of it. Like that race just felt, I like that we went to the timed race, and I like that we didn't throw the caution for the stage. I like those two additions. At the same time, I think I've been campaigning for this for a couple seasons now, but we're kind of all kind of the opinion there's got to be some way of having cautions occur in these races, like, or at least the chance for a caution. It doesn't actually have to be a caution, but the strategy, when you know a race is going to go 75 minutes green, you know exactly what the strategy is going to be. It's going to be pit as few times as possible. It's going to be pit, try to, if you're going to split the race in the thirds or split the race in the halves. And that's it. Like, there's really not a lot of strategy in that. And if you even have the possibility of cautions, it really opens things up, especially at road courses where you could try short pitting and maybe you catch a caution and pass everybody. I know it's been done in real life a lot too, where people short pit at road courses. You also have the strategy of, when do you pit for fuel? Do you possibly try to stretch it long and hope you catch a caution, maybe stay on the lead lap? And it just really opens up the race. And I don't know what a good system is for adding cautions to these road course races, because you don't want to be throwing it every time somebody spins out, because that'd be stupid. But I feel like if there's like an incident involving maybe 3 trucks or more wrecking, it should be a caution. Like, I think we probably had only one of those that race, which was probably in the carousel on lap 1. Would probably been the only time I would have said that should have been a caution. But so you probably wouldn't have had many in that race anyway, but just the possibility of them existing, I think, changes the way the races play out and would add a little bit more excitement. Just my opinion.
So
But overall, it was a fun. Oh, sorry. Overall, though, it was a fun race. I kind of got frustrated because I got up to Josh Arnold with like 10 to go. I ran him down from like 20 seconds back because he was saving fuel on a one stop. And as soon as I caught him, he had saved enough because he turned it on, and I got to him, and then I had to ride behind him for 2-3 laps, and I just could not get by him, and then I made a mistake and got like a second back and couldn't really get closer because my tires were gone, and ended up 9th. I thought I probably had I thought I had 7th place pretty clearly on speed. I was faster than Snyder and Arnold on the first couple, on both runs, on pretty much every phase of the race, but they did a good job. They made a smart strategy call and beat me on that, so that was a good job by them. Smart on their part. I was happy though. I got a top 10 at a road course, which for me is always a plus. So I think I moved back into the playoffs. So it was a fun race, but I wish we wouldn't have as many road courses. I don't like road courses. I'm bad at them.
So, Brett, I'm glad you brought this up. Being the time limit race, the first time it was utilized in the Pits News Truck Series, first road race on the season this year. So it was, like you mentioned, 75-minute race instead of being scheduled laps. All in all, it ran about 9 or 10 laps shorter than what we have ran in previous seasons at Watkins Glen, but it ran 25 minutes shorter. So what's your opinion on that, Brett? And Josh, I want to get your opinions on what Brett brought up about the cautions, because I know that played a very integral part in your race early on, unfortunately.
Yeah, so I thought the timed race was interesting, and I actually liked the way it worked out. I know if road course races, like, really, I don't want to be out racing on a road course running 75 minutes. Like, I'll be honest, that race was probably, I'll sound out of shape as crap saying this, but I actually felt was really sore after that race. And normally when I'm iRacing, if anything, my like right shoulder's getting sore because that's the arm that's really driving it. With Watkins Glen being more right turns than left turns, my left shoulder was killing me by the end of that race. And no cautions didn't help with that, but at the same time, I liked the fact that we were racing to a time limit. I thought it did open up some ways. Like, there was some interesting on how long you could go, and a lot of the pit strategy actually seemed like it played off of time rather than it played off of laps. I ended up going to a 2-stop just because I didn't think you could 1-stop it, and my lap times had dropped off like 2 or 3 seconds and I felt like I had no tire left. I was starting to make mistakes, so I pitted on the first stint because I felt like if I ran any more laps, I was going to put myself in the fence. And I think that had a lot to do with it too. Is really you did wear the tires a lot here. Just that's how the road courses typically run here. But that said, I thought timing. I like the idea of the timing. I wouldn't mind us keeping that going forward. Although, as I said, I like cautions in these races.
I think for cautions in these races, I like the idea of not having them. We've become so accustomed to having cautions in racing with stages now. Even if it is a clean race, there's always a stage caution. I think it is kind of nice to just not have to worry about that. It kind of plays into driver's hands a little bit more. When do you pit? Um, you know, what do I do when I pit? So, you know, I really like that idea. As far as a timed race, uh, I'll tell you, I really wish that I could have been out there longer than what I was to really get the idea for that. But I like that idea as well. I think this race it was cut down by a lot compared to what we've had in the past visiting Watkins Glen. And me personally, the less I can be at a road course, the better. Just personal preferences there, but no, I think honestly, from what I was doing, it wasn't a bad race. Um, but I like the ideas. I like the changes that are being made, and um, just trying to see what is better overall. And I think we're taking a step in the right direction. So far, I'm really liking the changes to not having the cautions on the road course and the timed races.
Well, thanks, Brett and Josh, for joining me this week on the In the Pits News Weekend Report. We're going to move on to this week's schedule on JCTV.
Hey, I'm Cameron Cole, the all-time wins leader at this moment in the Pits News Truck Series, and you're listening to Fastlane.
Fastlane, a JCTV podcast, is sponsored by FACES, the National Craniofacial Association.
Starting off this week is going to be the Coast to Coast Cup Series finale, ending up the SAAC season from Homestead Miami Speedway. We get started at 8:15 p.m. Thursday night, June 8th.
The DI9 Designs NAOR series visits the Nashville Fairgrounds on Friday, June 9th, and you can catch that one at 9 p.m.
The BSR in the Pits News Truck Series will be at Rockingham this Saturday, June 10th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Be a fun race at the Rock.
Next week, Friday, June 16th, the DI9 Designs NAOR series visits Texas Motor Speedway. Should be an exciting one there. Of course, again, you can catch that at 9 p.m.
And then Saturday, June 17th at the Charlotte Motor Speedway on the proper layout, the Oval. We'll be racing in the Pits News BSR in the Pits News Truck Series at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, June 17th.
Where there will be no rain.
I'm Johnathan Parker, driver of the number 92 Faith Fight Finish Foundation Chevrolet, and you're watching Fastlane, a JCTV podcast. Don't go anywhere.
Johnathan Canfield now joins Fastlane, racing with a heavy heart this week in the Slide Job Racing League. Johnathan, you found some tragic news this week. Racing a special paint scheme tonight in the Slide Job finale.
Yeah, Adam, I said I would be okay to talk about it, and here I am talking about it. But Monday morning I was just doing some GTA RP with some friends online, and I looked down at my phone and I seen a lengthy text message from my gunnery sergeant that works in my shop, and found out some tragic news. Sergeant Barris, guy hung out with quite a bit last year when we went on a detachment to Boise. We went on deployment over into Italy and Poland, and hung out with him quite a bit. Got to know him. One of the greatest guys that I've got a privilege to know. And he never would have seen the signs coming, but he took his own life Monday morning, the day of Memorial Day. And so tonight is pretty much not about me. It's about him with this race. It's his name's on my banner. It's going to be seen. I'm still running the red contigs for Dash for Cash just to, stay in regs with what the league wants me to do. But yeah, his name's going to be up in the top right corner of my car tonight. 22 a day, fighting against veteran and active duty suicides is going to be on the hood of the car instead of just my Marine tonight. And then someone came out with a photo of my squadron patch with a black line through it symbolizing that we had lost a member. So that's going to be down on the side of each door tonight. And just keep myself and my whole squadron in your prayers. He was a great guy. He served a good amount of years in the United States Marine Corps, and he was ordnance member with VMFA 323, the unit that I'm currently with. He moved his way into QA, quality assurance, and further impacted more lives, including my own, in ways of helping people get qualifications on the job, but also just being an approachable person and somebody you can go to talk to about anything. And I encourage anybody who's out there that's active duty or a veteran of any kind, or even just a civilian of any kind, if you're going through stuff, please just reach out. And if you're in my position where you've lost a friend like that, do your best not to blame yourself. I could easily be sitting here and saying, what if about, me just talking to him Thursday before the long weekend. But there's nothing that's going to change the outcome of what happened. And same goes for everyone else's situation. You can't go back and change the outcome of what happened. So tonight, Sergeant Barris, I know you're watching, and I hope you're with me in that car tonight. And I'm going to remember the good memories, not this one negative memory that I'm going to have of you. I'm going to remember all the good times. And who knows, maybe sometime later this week I'll find myself on a dance floor doing the salsa just like you always used to do. And I'll be the life of the party just like you always used to do. But yeah, racing with a heavy heart here tonight, Adam. And appreciate you giving me a chance to just relive on the memory that he is and that he always will be. And bring awareness to veteran suicide and bring awareness to my unit. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, of course, Jonathan. It's very tragic news, like we said, and I'm glad to see that you're going to be racing tonight, and in his honor and his memory, and everything you said about what you're doing special for this car tonight. It's amazing, a great tribute, and it's honestly, I hope you have a great run tonight, Jonathan, as always. But I hope really with him riding alongside, it gives you extra horsepower tonight, and you have a great momentum into the end of the season tonight.
Thank you, Adam.
All right, thank you, Jonathan. Well, Josh, the other night, JCTV reached another cool milestone on the YouTube page. Who do you want to shout out and thank for this achievement here?
We just reached 400 subscribers, currently sitting at 402 as of this recording. I think it is just so cool to get to this moment, and just a small channel that started off with me just having fun doing what I do, and I still have so much fun doing this, and it all goes back to way back in 2020, doing a lot of league racing and an idea that became a reality. And Cameron Caldwell, he's helped out so much. In fact, he's the one that came up with the name JCTV. Made all the logos, all the designs and stuff. So first and foremost, big shout out to Cameron Caldwell for every little thing he has ever done for JCTV to get us to where we are. And then you know, I could spend a whole lot of time talking about so many other people, but I won't take up that much time. But you know, it all goes back to every single league that we have ever broadcasted for, all the help from Dawson, you, Adam, um, just every single person. Johnathan Canfield has helped out a lot as well here recently. Um, you know, and I think our biggest moment was having that race back in December that we had, the Racers versus Redditors. I think that really sparked a huge a change in the subscriber count, and it's just built from there. And I know the DI9 Designs and AOR guys, all of them have pushed and pushed so much to help get subscribers, and of course adding on new shows as is always you know, bringing more people along as well. So just 400 subscribers, that is about 400 more than I ever imagined having when this small channel started. And I'll tell you what, I'm looking to continue to grow, continue to have fun doing this, and just having a good time with some really awesome people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that sounds
What?
sorry, and that sounds really bad out of context. Go ahead though, Adam.
Yeah, Josh, it's been a fun journey to be a part of this, and glad to see us get to 400 subscribers and see you be proud of this moment. And I'm glad to be here with you and Dawson and Johnathan and everyone else who works with us in the booth in JCTV and here on Fastlane, everything else that we are a part of, like you mentioned. And it's been fun so far, and hopefully we just continue to grow. And thanks to all 402 of you subscribed.
Hi, I'm Michael Kruger, driver of the Blockbuster Chevy for Piston Broke Racing, and you're watching Fastlane, a JCTV podcast.
Mahone, a driver in the Coast to Coast Cup Series, now joins us on Fastlane. Luke, currently with 2 races to go, you stand 9th in the points standings after Talladega last week. How was that race at Talladega, and what do you think about the next 2 races we have?
Talladega, it was started out a great race. I love Talladega and Daytona. I'm like, they're my best tracks. My only league win comes from Talladega, so I really thought I had a shot at winning. I know what was it, last week? So what was it, 2 to go? There's 3 green light checkers, right? And so I was good on fuel. And then I wasn't gonna make it if there were 3 green white checkers. If the third one came out, I was not gonna make it. I would have had a pit. So the first one happened, I was good. Second one happened, I was good. Third one, I was like, oh crap, I got a pit. I think I also got damage in it too. I got turned. And so I go into the pits, right? I have the fuel selected. I go in, take my repair, and then when I'm going out, I'm like, dang, it didn't fill up my fuel. And so I went back around. I had more damage I had to repair anyway, so I was okay with it. And mind you, this was like 1 to go when this was happening, so I had to be quick. It was like 20 seconds it was 14 seconds of optional. So I repair that, and it still does not fill up my gas. And prior to this, I was in like the top 10. I think I was right around 5th for the last green light checkered came out. And so I had to sit there for another 30 seconds waiting for my fuel to fill up. And it finally did. And by the time that happened, the leaders were coming to the green, and I had no shot at even getting a top 10. So yeah, I was pretty upset. If you ask any other guys in the call with me, I was upset. You're good.
Well, like I mentioned, we have just 2 races left at this point in the season as it stands right now. So how are you going to try and climb a little bit further up in the point standings, going to Watkins Glen and Homestead to end up this season?
So Watkins Glen, I'm not the best at road courses, but if there was a road course I would do good at, it'd probably be Watkins Glen. Just how simple it is. It's not that difficult. Anybody can do well there. So I'm just gonna try to practice. I know fast guys are getting like very low 111s. I'm getting high 112s. I'm like probably the worst person to go on a road course. I'm awful at it. You can ask anybody. But yeah, Watkins Glen, I'm just planning on practicing and perfecting my line, staying out of trouble. For Homestead, I'm not the best at Homestead. I can normally run right around 10th, depending on the strength field and everything like that. But if I'm sure the best thing I can probably get is like a top 5 in final points. So if I can get a top 10 next week and then a top, I don't know, 7, I can probably get somewhere around there. But I think that's the best I could do. I don't think I can do any better. There's no shot I'm winning. The Glen, I'm not fast enough to do that. And then for Homestead, Brian, he's probably the best one in the field there. And he'll probably win that, along with the championship, depending on how things go next week. Or actually tomorrow.
I've heard that you got a couple of paint schemes that you want to talk about. Talk us about those if you would.
Yeah, so I recently partnered with Duran Designs. The owner's Austin Duran. I'm just gonna say Duran. I don't know how to say his name, but he makes really good paint schemes. I'm also sponsored by Velocity Designs. That's Brian Lorenzo. He races in the league. His paint schemes are also amazing. But he made me a few schemes. I'll send to you guys if you guys want to take a look at them. But yeah, I'm really excited. I don't think I'll be able to get all of them out this season. I'll probably have to wait until next season to debut some of them. But I'll send them in. There's. I got this one made by Duran Designs. It's a night scheme, and then I have a day scheme that is pretty much just inverted. That I will. Where the heck? Here it is. And then there's the day scheme. My favorite out of the 3 is probably the Arizona scheme, just because I like bright colors, and it has 2 very good bright colors. Probably debut next season.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm not a tea person. I don't like tea. I may get backlash for that, but I have to say, out of the 3 there, I really like that one with the bright colors. I mean, all 3 of them are awesome designs. I
Yep.
like those for sure. But yeah, just bright colors on that Arizona one. That looks really good.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite so far. Then I got another one in the works with Brian. It's a SimRap Market. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it, but it's a website that has templates that are $10 a pop. It's really good products, very professionally made. Like my new helmet I made with it. I'll send that as well. Very proud of my new helmet. So it's not the best, but it's probably my favorite thing about my suit, about my driver. But yeah, they make a lot of good products. I recommend anybody watching or listening check them out.
So another thing that we definitely want to talk to you about was an off-season league that is coming up. Of course, as Adam and you have mentioned, only 2 races left in the season for the Coast to Coast Cup Series. So talk to us about what this off-season is going to be about.
So All right, yeah. This off season, all of the SAAC guys, we normally do something in the off season just to keep the participation up and keep it fun, something to do. And meanwhile, in between seasons, Cody's he's gonna host an eight race season with the Indy cars or the Delar IR18s for legal reasons. And it's 4 ovals, 4 road courses. I'm very good at Indy. Well, I'm not very good. It's probably my strong suit is IndyCar. I understand the car very well, how to use weight jacker and ARB blades, and it's just a fun car to race, especially on ovals. I've gained 1,000 iRating in a week on ovals. On one oval, it was Atlanta. It was like January 20th or something. It was 4 wins. Like I did like 25 races, got not 20 top 5s. It was a fun week. But yeah, I'm really hyped for the new season. I'm looking forward to it.
Sounds like it is going to be a fun series.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
So yeah, unfortunately, you mentioned legal reasons. Unfortunately, we won't be able to see the races happen in this off season, but we're going to be checking out and being sure to tune in every week to see what's going on. It's going to be 4 oval races, 4 road courses. So, what are the circuits that you're looking forward to? I don't think they've been announced, but what are some of the things in the consideration that you're going to take those IndyCars at?
That I know of, they've talked to, we're all in a group chat and he talks about it. That I know of, I know Indianapolis is going to be there be on there with the road course and the oval. So that's 1 oval, 1 road. I think Long Beach is going to be on there. That's street course. There's going to be, I think Texas. They're talking about Texas. Pocono, either Iowa or Worldwide Tech is going to be the 4th oval. I think that's still up in the air. And then I think Laguna Seca is going to be one of the road courses. Can't remember the other 2. I think Barber was I'm thrown out there. I'm not sure if Barber is going to be in there. I don't even own half those tracks. I don't own Worldwide Tech or Long Beach or Barber. But I'm still looking forward to it. I'm willing to put in the practice and effort to get good at road courses. And I'm looking forward to just thriving on the ovals though. It's my main focus.
You bring up learning on the road courses. Obviously, totally different car, super different racing format on how they, just in general, on how they race and how the races are going to play out. But can you pick up speed in the IndyCar that you can translate over to the next gen at all for next season?
I honestly don't think there's a lot that you can link between the two. They're pretty much complete opposite cars. The next gen stock car is a high. It's a low downforce, high HP car. Not a lot of grip, and it's primarily oval cars. It's gotten better on road, but still. And then IndyCar is high downforce, high horsepower. It's an open wheel car, just races on ovals. It's got 2 wings, and they drive completely different. Even on ovals, like there's so many things you can change to change how your car drives in car and in the Indy car. And there's like the only thing you can change, I'm pretty sure, is brake bias for the next gen. So I don't think there's going to be a lot I can link between the two, but I'll definitely use the road course races to practice for next season. I know Sonoma will be on the calendar next season. I can say that. That's the only thing I know for sure, though.
All right. Well, thank you, Luke, for taking time out of your week. Good luck Thursday at Watkins Glen, and hopefully we get to talk to you a couple times before the season ends on the main broadcast here on JCTV.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
And that was Luke Mahone, driver of the number 5 in the SAAC Coast to Coast Cup Series. Thursday nights at 8:15 p.m. Eastern right here on JCTV as they wrap up the championship this season in Season 0 and get ready for their off-season races.
Hey, it's Ethan Fonseca Moreno, driver of the 43 Martin Truex Jr. Foundation, JCTV Camaro, and you're listening to Fastlane on the JCTV broadcast.
Ethan Fonseca Moreno now joins Fastlane, driver of the 43, and a couple of different leagues right here on JCTV. First off, Ethan, we're going to start off by talking about your first career victory in league racing. It came at Iowa Speedway a couple of weeks ago in the Pits News Truck Series. Got back up towards the front after a late race caution, got the lead, and you had to hold them off after 2 attempts. So what was it like kind of crossing across the line sideways and getting that victory a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, I thought I was going to lose that race. As soon as I got hit from behind by my teammate, I thought I was spinning around. I'm going to lose this race. Darn. And I think I saw Tristan to my inside. I was like, oh man, he's going to take the win. He's going to settle for second or third or something like that. But yeah, it was a crazy finish. Race was kind of up and down. I had like a few. I had a moment where I spun the pit road and went all the way to the back. I thought at that point that it would be a struggle to get back to the front, because normally when I'm trying to get back to the front, things don't happen the way that I want it to happen, and sometimes I get involved in the incident. So that's just kind of what I think is going to happen next. But it all worked. I don't know how with 50 lap older tires I held off Micah. At the time when I finished the race, I was like not even celebrating. I think I was really like, I guess I was more concerned about the way it all ended, because I thought what I did was kind of unacceptable at the time. But now that I look back at it, it doesn't really look too bad, I guess. But I'll take the win though, for sure. It was definitely nice getting the first win. It's good to win that way. I hope that at some point I would like to win a race, like more in like a long run type of race, more than just happening on a restart, But yeah.
So Ethan, I know a lot of times, especially myself, I've been talking a lot about how my teammates have really helped me throughout the season so far. Of course, you and I are on the same team in the Pits News Truck Series. So, we were kind of talking pre-recording about, the team chatter in that race there at Iowa. And just from your perspective, of course, I know what happened, but from your perspective, what was it like just listening to, your teammates throughout the race while you're trying to focus on, at that point, what could potentially become a win?
Yeah, so there was a lot of chatter with Bennett and Michael during the race. I tried working with Mikey before the race, and during practice and all that, about trying to save the tires. Try to go for the long run, because especially with this track and truck and all that, it's a bit difficult to hold track position, especially when you got that outside lane working so well for the short run. And I mean, for the most part during that race, people were on the top and holding it, and it's difficult to pass on the bottom, so you really have to like save your tires on the bottom and make a run at it later on. And I don't know. I was thinking maybe then it's just not like that patient right now, because I try working with Mikey telling them got to be patient this race. You know, if you're not able to pass guys, you know, just make a run at it later on. Save your stuff. I feel like Bennett would have got the message, or probably did get the message, but I kind of had to repeat it numerous times. So yeah, during that race, I really didn't want any cautions because I was at that point I was already kind of tired of the cautions that we've had for the past few races. So I just wanted to go green, you know, have a long run, and because that's what I am really good at. I just want to have a clean race, make my way to the front, you know, and just have a good race, you know. I wanted them to be patient as well, because, yeah, like I said, the cautions are insane. But I'm also trying to work with them to try to improve them as drivers to become better at these long runs. Because I kind of noticed a little bit in practice that it's not exactly the way I like to see it, I guess. But they could definitely be better for sure. So I'm trying to help them improve on that. But yeah, no harsh feelings with the yelling and all that I did during that race. Just trying to get them to, you know, be better with saving their stuff and being patient with other drivers, so we don't have this many cautions and all that. And it's not just them; it's all the other guys who are also racing on track with us who need a little bit more patience on track.
All right. Well, Ethan, before you agreed to doing this interview on Fastlane, you made a bet with yourself saying you wouldn't come on the show until you got that first victory, and then you said that you were gonna dish out some names and give some opinions on what happened to preventing you on winning sooner here on JCTV. So, real quick, thoughts on the bet you made with yourself, and then who really kind of rubbed you the wrong way in any other leagues here that we saw and made you fight for that win a little bit harder here?
Yeah, that bet was I didn't expect it to come this soon. I was thinking like maybe it would come later on, you know, sometime later, but yeah, I'm just as surprised that the win came this soon. As for the other part, I can't really. I could really pin two people for maybe being maybe a little over aggressive, or you know, racing without their heads. I definitely will say it is Glenn Bundren and Blaze McKinney. Those two guys, they're good friends with each other, but sometimes when they're racing against me, it's just ridiculous. I mean, Glenn Bundren during the Michigan race in Slide Job, man, he we just got out of pit road, and I think a lap or two later, I'm trying to pass because I'm like trying to gain some positions and all that, and this guy, he's going a little bit slower, obviously trying to save his stuff, and as I'm making a move to the inside, he just blocks me all the way down to the white line, and all the way until we're going into turn 3, and I was frustrated, so I was just trying to, you know, make a dumb move, I guess, just trying to send it on his inside, but I kind of backed out of it. But yeah, kind of hate when that happens, when they block from all the way down the track for whatever reason. I mean, I don't know. It's not smart driving. But as for Blaze, he kind of is a little similar to Glenn's driving style, but I don't think. Oh, you know what? There was a race also in Nashville that was kind of a little dumb. I get that he was in the middle, 3 wide, or whatever, you know, or he was trying to go take the spot that I had left open in the middle, and he sent it pretty deep. I'm Not sure why he did it that deep, but I know that there was a guy who was in the Dasher Cash right behind him, or something like that. And of course, I'm racing because I'm in the playoffs. So, and I'm having a really good race going, about to have a good finish going, and this guy just sends it in for whatever reason. I don't know what he was thinking, but just gotta drive a little bit smarter than that. Kind of ridiculous. Kind of had an incident with them in another league as well, separate from this, but yeah, that's all I got to say about them.
You were up in the mix at Auto Club Speedway, contending for the win. What was that like, and what do you have for expectations for next season, if any?
Yeah, playoffs were all right. If I feel like there was a pretty solid chance for me to get in, because if I remember, after I believe Watkins Glen, I was not that far behind Luke Nutt in points, and so that bad finish. Well, it wasn't really a bad finish for Nashville, but all the playoff drivers were pretty much up there, so there were points to be scored there. Probably a 5th place finish for sure, or 6th, something like that. Had a good race at Watkins Glen. Darlington was good. It was a good race up until the last restart. So I feel like if I would have finished up there in the top 4 where I was on the restart, probably would have had a lot of good points there. Probably would have stayed close with Luke Nubb, if anything. Talladega, it was, I had a penalty in pit road that cost me pretty much a chance at even trying to win the race, if anything, because I think I pitted with 2 to green, and it gave me a penalty, so I had to do a drive-through. And according to some others, from what I heard, they were going to clear my black flag. They were going to clear it if I went one more lap. So I don't know. That's just maybe bad communication or something to me, but that did kind of screw me a bit. So that hurts. Yeah, I feel like I would have had a better shot to get into that final 4. But that Auto Club race, yeah. It was cool. Being at the front. I was taking care of my stuff for a while, and then I had some really good long run pace. I know that's not fair. I was just taking care of my stuff, and as soon as we get about maybe like 20 something laps in, I would catch back up to the guys up at the front. Maybe try to make some moves. I don't want to be too aggressive because I know JP is racing for a championship and Sartaj is as well. Kind of chill with those guys, so we didn't have anything go on with each other. I just wanted to race them with respect and not be too aggressive to where we get into a wreck or something. I know my internet could be bad sometimes, so I don't really want to cause a wreck with netcode or anything like that. So yeah, I'm just taking it easy. If it was not in the playoff, or if I was in the playoffs still, or some other race that's not in the playoffs, I would be a little bit more aggressive. But yeah, it's their race, pretty much their championship. So just wanted to let them battle it out for a little bit. Unless if I felt like I was, faster than them, like I did in the first stint of the race, I passed them and not necessarily drove away, but just try to put a little bit of a gap between myself and Sartaj. But yeah, it was a good race. I look forward to next season, just based off of how the final races of the playoffs went, or pretty much the whole playoffs. Had a pretty good race for the most part in all the tracks. except for Talladega. But it's kind of expected. So, but yeah, pace is getting there. That's for sure. So that's the main thing that I look forward to. Is carrying on this good momentum. Not necessarily the finishes, but good momentum from these past few races, carrying it into next season, hopefully. I expected the same thing for In the Pits News, but it just hasn't gone my way so far. So, apart from the win, of course, but yeah, hopefully better finishes to come, and not have myself in a situation to where I'm close on points to get into the playoffs. Hopefully, get a win. Um, there's a few tracks. There's actually many tracks on the schedule this upcoming season that I like very well. So I look forward to that a lot.
So, not really a question about a specific series, just kind of racing in general. And this question kind of comes up because, as mentioned earlier, working with you as a teammate in the Pits News Truck Series, also kind of just in this interview here, we hear, your bird in the background. So, when I race or really broadcast, I like to make sure that I don't have any of my four cats or my dog in my room where they could be a potential distraction. So I know you have lots of animals and pets yourself. Um, it is kind of hard to just kind of move a bird per se. So, is there any kind of distractions when you're racing with your pets, or is this something that you've kind of just gotten used to as you've gone about racing so much?
Yeah, I've always had these pets here, so um, sometimes I just kind of ignore them when I'm racing. So it's not really a big distraction, but I think, like I said the other day or in another race, my biggest distraction is when I'm blinking or when I'm lagging. So that's my biggest distraction because everything's going crazy on my screen. So can't really focus on the racetrack. I got everything going on, but no, the bird and the dogs. I mean, they all get along well. So, uh, when they're messing around and all that, getting all jumpy, they all get along. Like I said, so you know, they can be aggressive when they play around, and no, it won't distract me. Unless if like they start fighting or something, then I would have to like get off the thing. But um, no, yeah, they're good. They're good. They're really good. Uh, I got the bird who's like, I don't know, maybe a couple feet away from me. So when he starts screaming out random stuff, I mean, yeah, it's not really a distraction unless he starts like jumping at me from his cage, which hopefully he doesn't do that. But no, it's kind of funny to hear this bird during the races, but yeah, not really a distraction at all, really.
So, kind of a question that might go hand in hand with that one. Um, I know for myself, a couple of years ago, one thing I learned. Well, I've been on iRacing for over 7 years now, and I've had a lot of different sim rigs, or not necessarily just rigs, but um, areas for where I race. And several years ago, I had my setup in the living room, and it was kind of all in the open. And my dog actually, thank God I was only practicing. I wasn't in a race or anything. But I was driving at Talladega, just practicing in a group of other people, and my dog actually stepped on my brake pedal for that matter, and completely just brake checked the entire field behind me as I was leading this pack. Have you ever had at any point just you know uh, one of your pets um, actually mess up um, while make you mess up while you're driving, whether it is stepping on a pedal or maybe nudging at an arm to swerve the steering wheel at all?
Nope. My dog. So I have my pedals in this like little cabinet kind of thing. So really, there's barely any space to like go into the pedals. So no, these dogs they just mind their own business really. The cat is the only one I kind of am a little concerned about because sometimes during the races, whenever she feels like it, she's jumping on top of the chair that I'm sitting on for whatever reason. I don't know why, but it's not a big distraction, if anything. But yeah, the cat sometimes likes to go wander around places, jump onto random things, and a few times she has jumped into to where the pedals are at, but she has not like stepped on the pedals. So the PC is also kind of right next to the pedals as well. So there was one time I think, um, not not in a league, but I think it was like an official race in a practice session where she just went on top of the PC. I don't know how, because from the top of this cabinet to where the PC is at is very tight. And so she went up there and just turned off the PC. She just shut it off. For I don't know why, but I guess she felt like turning off the PC. She's done it a few times. It's not just one time, but I kind of made it to where it's like she's not coming over here anymore to do that. So like I kind of just like if she comes over here and goes to where the PC is at or tries to go there, I just kind of like, you know, wiggle my foot around a little bit. Don't do that. Don't do that. So, so yeah, she doesn't do that anymore as often. But yeah, that was kind of annoying for me to have to get everything started up again. But yeah,
I'll tell you, it is. Having pets is so cool, for sure, and can be a challenge sometimes being a sim racer. But yeah, it was just kind of a couple miscellaneous questions I had.
I will say I got 4 dogs, 1 cat, a parrot right behind me, and I think like 5 other birds in the patio. So yeah, yeah, I got a Doberman, a German Shepherd, a little tiny Chihuahua over here, and then my mom has her pug, little tiny pug, and I don't know what kind of breed the cat is, but she's an annoying one, that's for sure. She's a little tiny one who likes to run around all over the place, jump on everything, just be annoying whenever. But when you want to like show her attention at some point, she's just like, "Oh, screw you! I don't see you. I don't know who you are. Just gonna walk away." But yeah. The bird is an Amazon parrot, so you could talk to him, but I mean, he doesn't really like respond with words with the English language, so he just goes like, where? That's it.
Well, thanks, Ethan, for joining and telling us about a couple of different things, though. Vast variety of things here on Fastlane. Good luck. Good luck in all the races you compete on here on JCTV. A lot of fun to see you race, and hopefully we get to talk to you again here shortly on Fastlane.
Yep, whenever my next one comes.
All right. Thank you, Ethan.
Yeah, no problem, guys. What do I do now?
That was Ethan Fonseca Moreno, driver of the 43 in the Pits News Truck Series. And like I mentioned, races also in the NAOR DI9 Design Series and the Slide Job Racing League MF Racing Designs.
Hello, I'm Brett Bennett, driver of the number 47 SBLD Ford F-150, and you're listening to Fastlane, a JCTV podcast.
Fastlane is also sponsored by Spooky Games. Check them out in Attleboro, Massachusetts, or online at spooky-games.square.site, or on their Facebook today. Links are in the description. Back here on Fastlane JCTV podcast, looking over most recent weeks on JCTV picks. Been a little while since we've run down total results here. Let's look a couple weeks back at Dover Motor Speedway. First pick was Michael Kruger. He went with the 11 of Denny Hamlin, ended up in the 5th position. And Johnathan Canfield went out on a limb, went with the sub-driver of Josh Berry, returning to the seat of the 48 this time, and he had finished in 10th position.
Cameron Caldwell chose Kyle Larson, and Kyle Larson ended up finishing 32nd. I chose William Byron, who ended up finishing 4th, the highest among all of our picks.
I went with the 45 of Tyler Reddick. He ended up in 7th place on the racetrack. And Dawson Allen chose the 4 of Kevin Harvick, who crossed the finish line in 19th.
Kansas Speedway was next, where Cameron Caldwell chose first. He chose 45 Tyler Reddick. Reddick ended up finishing 9th. Johnathan Canfield chose AJ Allmendinger. AJ finished 14th.
This week I chose Denny Hamlin for Kansas. He ended up winning the race, so that was 2 bonus points for myself. While Josh, you went with the 8 of Kyle Busch. He ended up getting in the wall and finishing in 35th.
Michael Kruger chose Bubba Wallace, who had a great race, finishing 4th. And Dawson Allen, he went with Christopher Bell, finishing in 36th.
I was able to go back-to-back somehow with my pick of William Byron at Darlington. He won the race. Josh, you chose Kyle Larson, who was leading the race late, got involved in an incident with the 1 car, ended up in 20th.
Dawson Allen chose Martin Truex Jr., who finished 31st. Johnathan Canfield went with Denny Hamlin, who finished in 12th.
Michael Kruger finished in 2nd with the pick of Kyle Busch, finishing in the 7th position on the racetrack, and Cameron Caldwell chose the 22 of Joey Logano, who ended the day in 18th.
Even though it was the All-Star event, we still did picks, and Johnathan Canfield, he went first, choosing Kyle Busch. Busch finished 22nd. Cameron Caldwell, he went with Kyle Larson, who, well, rumor has it, his car is so fast, it finished about an hour before everybody else.
Yeah, it was a dominating race there in North Wilkesboro for the 5 car. Josh, you picked the 19 of Martin Truex Jr., ended up in the 14th position, and I chose the 9 of Chase Elliott. He ended the night in 5th.
Michael Kruger went with Joey Logano, who finished in 10th. And Dawson Allen, he went with the number 29. Yes, I said 29 of Kevin Harvick, who finished in 18th place.
We chose for the 107th running of the Indianapolis 500 and gave out normal points for that event. Michael went first with his picks. He chose the 5 of Pato O'Ward, going for 2nd place late, ended up crashing, ended up 24th on the leaderboard. And Josh, you chose the 9, 6-time champion Scott Dixon, who ended the day in that 6th position.
Gotcha. Cameron Caldwell chose Alexander Rossi, who finished in 5th. Adam, you chose Felix Rosenquist, who finished 27th.
Yeah, he was involved in one of the scary incidents late in the race. Not a good pick for myself. And Dawson Allen chose Colton Herta, who was involved in a few incidents on the pit lane, actually, but survived the chaos on the racetrack late to finish 9th. As for Johnathan Canfield, he chose Romain Grosjean, who crashed out of Turn 2, ended up 30th.
Next up was Coca-Cola 600, where they've said checkers or wreckers for Kyle Larson. This one ended up being a wreckers. Kyle Larson was my pick. He finished in 30th. Johnathan Canfield chose the number 1 Ross Chastain, who finished in 22nd.
It wasn't a great showing for us in JCTV picks at the Coke 600. Dawson Allen chose the 20 of Christopher Bell. He spun out and finished 24th. Cameron chose the 99 of Daniel Suarez, who had an off night, finishing in 23rd.
Michael Kruger went with Bubba Wallace, who finished in 4th. And I don't know what you're talking about with us having bad night of picks, but you ended up going with Mark Truex Jr., who finished in 3rd, and you claimed the point from that one.
Johnathan Canfield got his first race win on the season with the 8 of Kyle Busch, picking him to the victory at St. Louis, the second time the Cup Series is raced at Gateway's WWT Raceway. He gets now 3 points on the season in total, while Cameron chose the 1 of Ross Chastain, who finished in the 22nd position for the second straight week.
Adam, you went with Alex Bowman, who finished in 26th. Michael Kruger took William Byron, who was having a great race early, but ended up finishing in 8th.
And Dawson chose the 22 of Joey Logano, had a good rebound late in the race to finish 3rd, just short of that victory. And Josh, you chose a long shot driver, Corey LaJoie, making a substitute role in the 9 car for Chase Elliott after his suspension. He survived the day to finish 21st. So the current JCTV pick standings after the race at St. Louis, I lead with 6. Michael and Dawson have 4 apiece. Cameron and Johnathan Canfield have 3 apiece, and Josh has 2.